Have you heard of Wandersong? If not, that's perfect, because this video is for you. Last year was released Chicory, a colorful Zelda-like whose gameplay is based on painting. But it was later that I found a game from the same creator, Greg Lobanov, and this one is based on music. Sure, we have rhythm games like Beat Saber, game where you have to use your voice like one hand clapping, and concept games like Sayonara Wild Hearts. But Wandersong is not just a musical game. It's all of this at once. And above all, it's one of the best games I've ever played. I haven't seen any musical analysis on this. So here I am. In this video, I'll give you 5 reasons to play Wandersong. But before that, I want to talk a little bit about Chicory, a colorful tale. Ah yes. Chicory is hands down the best game released in 2021. And this is why. You have to call your character based on your favorite food. So I call it bibimbap, the best Korean food. A more serious answer. You are in possession of the most powerful brush in the world. This brush can give color to anything, so you can solve puzzles and fight monsters. Or you can just chill at the Art Academy and paint classics. Even if you are not an artist, you must absolutely play this game. It's really great if you want to find or develop your creativity. Look, I made something. Oh, if you wonder, this is not really a reason to play Wandersong. That's why it's Act 0. Consider this as an introduction and more like one reason to play Chicory. Now, let's talk about what interests us the most. Music. Made by Lina Rain, acclaimed composer who made music for Celeste and new Minecraft updates. Also helped in Deltarune's music transcription and arrangement. I really love the contrasts in this game, whether in the gameplay or the soundtrack. For example, it goes from acoustic, reminiscent of a Zelda-like, to chiptune, more reminiscent of Celeste. We recognize Lina Rain's touch. It goes from calm orchestral, giving space for self-expression through melodies, to straight-up banger. Gameplay, story, music. This game has it all. Honestly, Chicory deserves a video on its own. So why am I not making a video on it? Chicory spoke to me as an artist, but Wandersong spoke to me as a musician. And the topics covered seem more universal. And speaking of musician, let's start talking about Wandersong with the Bard and 150 characters. Yeah, according to the Steam page, there are 150 characters. Let's start by introducing the protagonist, Bard, also known as Kiwi, because the game was almost called Kiwi's Big Adventure. I'm glad to present a game called Wandersong and not Kiwi's Big Adventure. But Kiwi is a great name. It is under the appearance of a cockatiel that we can meet Kiwi in Chicory. But I prefer to call him Bard. So, he's the protagonist. But is he a hero? He can't seem to wield a sword. But you know what he can do? He can sing, he can dance, and he is an optimist. This song radiates joy of living and illustrates perfectly the character of the bard. It's a beautiful morning. The birds are singing. Now, meet the bard's sidekick, Miriam. She is the exact opposite of the bard. Miriam is a witch, so she can fly on a broomstick and uses awesome magic powers. But above all, she is a pessimist. But I would say a realist, because when Miriam wanted to use her powers against a menacing yeti, which is a perfectly normal reaction, the bard said, "I wanna get close and try talking to it." Yeah, maybe it's the bard who is too optimistic. If we analyze their musical themes, we see that everything opposes them. Let's assume the two themes are played by the same instrument. For example, a ukulele. The bard's music chooses to strum the instrument, which is more accessible, playing in G major, and Miriam's music chooses to pluck strings, which is fucking hard to play. Sorry, this shot took me 50 tries. Here, the song is in A minor, and the middle part is in G minor. I don't want to make the assumption that major is happy and minor is sad. But at least I can say that major and minor are like two sides of the same coin, and with the same instrument they apply two different nuances. What's great about them is that they are opposite, but complementary, and together they will have to face the greatest catastrophe. And for that, I present to you last, Ayala. I prefer the real Ayala. Perfection. Ayala, messenger of the goddess Aya. I won't talk too much about this character, but I can tell you that you will see her often. It's the perfect timing to tell you the synopsis. In a dream, you meet Ayala, who presents herself as messenger of the goddess Aya, who created the universe through a song. But she will sing this song again, which is gonna replace this universe with a new one. Yep, the world is ending. Oh, an important point. Ayala entered the dreams of all humans on Earth to find the hero of prophecy. And the bard is not that hero. Yet, he will do everything in his power to stop the world from ending. Luckily, one way to stop the end of the world would be to sing the Earth Song. To learn it, he must enter the spirit world and find an overseer who can teach him. Yes, it's a lot to digest. And everything I just say is in Act 1 of the game. There are 7 acts in all. So, did I arouse your curiosity? The bard and Miriam will have to face a lot of hardships. But with Miriam's awesome magic powers and the bard singing, they will go on a journey around the world. The bard will use his voice to bring people together and solve problems. Alright, I should tell you a bit more about the musical gameplay. Gameplay is good. Okay, that's not all, but I've taken too much time in the first part, so this part will be shorter. Wandersong is not really a rhythm game, but there are some parts where you have to sing in rhythm to move forward in the story, like learning the Earth Song. But that's not all. The music is at the core of the gameplay. to talk to people, to solve puzzles, and of course, to sing. And for that, you will have to use this, your music wheel. It plays a whole musical scale. An interesting detail is that the musical tone of your wheel changes over the acts. In Act 1, it is in C major to match most of the music. And in Act 2, it is in G major, so you can also play music in E minor, the relative tone. And at some point, you can do this. Anyway, the keyword is accessibility. The game is not punitive, there is no game over, and it's okay if you miss a note in your singing. What matters is that you do your best. I like that music is something universal. Everyone can sing and play music. The bard may not know how to fight, but he can use his singing as an alternative way to solve the problems he faces. Do you remember the menacing Yeti? Turns out the solution was to sing harder in its opposite direction. Even if it sounds cheesy, in every situation the bard will try to find the most peaceful way, because he is a kind and cheerful person. So, since the start of this video, I played 9 songs from the Wandersong soundtrack, and it's not even 10% of the OST. A huge soundtrack. The soundtrack is 4 hours long, and I thought that Omori was longer. Thanks God I'm not making a music tier list. Let me introduce you the composer of Wandersong, a shell in the pit, a team of sound designers working on audiovisual stuff like video games and YouTube videos. First of all, their website is so fucking cool. Let's start by introducing M. Halberstadt, creative director and sound designer for games like Chicory, Wandersong, but also for Untitled Goose Game and Night in the Woods. There is also Preston Wright, sound designer who helped for Chicory, especially for post-sound effects. And finally, Gordon McGladery, studio director and composer for the game Wandersong. This is out of control, just like a pirate crew. An interesting fact, all the voices of Wandersong are made by M, Gordon and Greg. And if you play Night in the Woods, Greg Lobanov did the voice of Sharkle. So yeah, it's Sharkle's game. Okay, can you calm down a bit? As I said before, the soundtrack is 4 hours long, and I hope you will have the opportunity to listen it, because it is one of the greatest soundtracks I've ever heard. As you could see in the first part, there is a real work of composition in the characterization of the bard and Miriam. But there is also a care taken in the orchestration of the places to visit. For example, Delphi, in the Act 2. According to Greg, Delphi is named after Philadelphia, the city where he grew up. That's why it's an important place in this game. The first time you arrive in this town, everyone is depressed because of the monotony of everyday life and the loss of meaning of life. But in this place, you will meet other musicians, and together you will ignite Delphi in order to give it a second wind and make people happy again. That's a clever piano break, because we can recognize the same piano from the song before and compare the before and the after. God, the soundtrack is so good. Is there at least one downside? Actually, yes. There is dubstep. But seriously, this part is kinda epic, so it's acceptable. I have one word to describe Wandersong and its soundtrack. Cheesy, but in a good way. But let's go back to Act 2. Truly, a great chapter. By looking for musicians to play on stage, you will come across Ash, who is an accordionist. I didn't mention the orchestration of this act, which is mainly composed of wind instruments like tuba, organ, flute, clarinet, and accordion. Without too much spoiler, the story of Ash is the mourning of a loved one. Ash wanted to play the first scene with this person, but sadly, she passed away. So the bard, who learned to speak with ghosts thanks to his visit to the spirit world, will use the power of music to fulfill Ash's wish and give an unforgettable moment of the game. See, I told you it was cheesy, but in a good way. You didn't expect this game to be so dramatic, all of a sudden. Well, brave yourself, because we are coming to my favorite moment. An authentic emotional game. Trigger warnings. Depression. The mourning of loved ones. War between nations. And the entropy of the universe. These are the serious topics covered in Wandersong. I chose this song to represent this darkness. First, there is this chord progression, starting with the minor chord. Keep an eye on it, and ending in tension with a dominant chord. Then there is this piano, playing in crescendo, harder and harder, as if the knowledge of this dark reality hits you right in the face. Another tension in C-sharp minor. And finally, this B major release, coming like a ray of light that illuminate this darkness from Act 5, the longest and best act of Wandersong. This is my favorite theme of this game, and if we look at the chord progression of this part, it is similar to the previous one, but with the first chord that changes from minor to major, which perfectly transcribe the character who is Hala. This song reminds me of Ballad of the Cats from Minecraft Volume Beta, less popular than its predecessor, Minecraft Volume Alpha. Volume Beta has some hidden gems, like Ballad of the Cats, and I see a parallel between the darkness of the Nether and the darkness of Act 5. So, from the bottom of my heart, if you want an unforgettable experience, don't watch someone else's Let's Play. Just play it and live it. Really, you won't regret it. an ode to humanity. Has there ever been a time in your life when you faced a masterpiece that changed your life, as if your standards were raised to another level? It happened to me by listening to Words by Porter Robinson, by watching Made in Abyss by Akihito Tsukushi, by playing Omori, made by Omokat. And now there is Wandersong, a 10-hour game made with love and humanity. By playing it, I didn't see the time pass, and at the same time, I felt like I had been through so much. Wandersong deserves to exist and be played for what it can bring to the player. Having character differences doesn't stop us from loving each other. Everyone can sing and play music. It can bring joy in our life, but can also illustrate the harsh reality of life. But above all, be like the bard, kind and cheerful. Try to do your best. Don't try to be the number one, because if you fail, you will never be happy. Instead, try to be the best for the people around you. Be a hero to them. Now I can say it. Wandersong is the greatest musical adventure. I often say this game is cheesy in a good way. But you know what I also find cheesy? Shonen manga. A protagonist trying to accomplish something impossible with the power of love and friendship. Wait, is Wandersong an anime? Normally, I wanted to put an extract of what I composed for this occasion. Unfortunately, it has been copyright claimed. So yeah, I made an anime theme based on Wandersong. It's like my little revenge on my composition of last year. If you want to listen to the full version, check out this song after this video. And I hope you liked this video essay. This is the first time I make this, but the previous video series I made helped a lot to structure it. With games like Wandersong and Chicory, Greg Lobanov might be my favorite game creator. Beyond the music, there is the gameplay, the visual, and of course, the story. The harmonization of all these elements is of paramount importance to create something incredible. And with the announcement of a new project, I can't wait to see what Greg and his team are working on. A little reminder that the soundtracks of Chicory and Wandersong are available on all platforms. Always important to support something you love. Thanks for watching.